what are the 10 sfirot and what is the tree of life? First of all, it's basically the same thing. Essentially, it's a synonym. If you say the 10 sfirot or you say the tree of life, you're basically saying the same thing. The term tree of life, at least in the context of Kabbalah, was popularized or was invented, conceived about 500 years ago by the Ari, one of the greatest Kabbalists, who wrote about 2,000 pages describing the structure of the 10 Sfirot and how they are the vessel to perceive the spiritual reality. And he called this composition Tree of Life. Now, look, I'm sure that a lot of you have seen this diagram before, right? The diagram of the 10 Sfirot, the Tree of Life. And once again, unfortunately, there's if you go online and look for this, you will find all kinds of versions of this diagram rife with misinterpretation and sometimes with all kinds of materializations. And my recommendations, honestly, is to not look at those things at all, because it puts a visual in your mind that is just wrong, connecting this structure with all kinds of material depiction. And the truth is this: the 10 Sfirot have nothing to do with our corporeal experience, with our physical perception of the world. The 10 Sfirot, and this is secret number 4, it's very simple for you to get it now after the previous ones. It's the structure of the spiritual vessel. That's it. We talked about a soul. We talked about the point in the heart developing into a spiritual vessel that senses the non-material reality. That is what it's built from. The spiritual vessel is built from these 10 qualities: Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. And as I began saying, all of this begins to develop from, once again, this point in the heart that if we learn how to develop it, the structure of the 10 Sfirot evolves from this seed, this seed that needs to be planted in the right environment called the point in the heart. This unique desire becomes the 10 Sfirot if we know how to develop it. And the 10 Sfirot are the structure of the spiritual vessel. Nothing material. On every level of the spiritual reality, every one of these 125 degrees, you will perceive reality through a vessel of 10 Sfirot. You cannot perceive reality, the spiritual reality, if not through these 10 qualities. Everything that exists here above the level of this world, everything in those 125 degrees, can be referred to as light, or the quality of unconditional bestowal, the governing force of reality, the governing force of nature. That light can be perceived only through 10 qualities that are referred to as the 10 Sfirot. Think about it just like our physical reality. We always perceive it through our 5 senses. It's actually exactly the same. Just like, you can be in London or in Berlin or in Hong Kong or in Tel Aviv, right? But wherever you go, you will experience it through those 5 senses. In the exact same way, whatever world you are in the spiritual reality, whatever degree you're in, you will experience it through the 10 Sfirot. All right, so Sfira. What's a Sfira? So Sfira basically comes in Hebrew from the word sapir. Sapir means sapphire. Sapphire simply means luminous, something that shines. Something that shines. So that's where it comes from. And now you can understand that essentially what we're talking about is that these are layers of desire. Layers of desire, let me draw it like this, that have developed an intention that is similar to the spiritual reality, and therefore they can perceive the spiritual reality. Just like when a radio in our world, a radio receiver, generates a certain, in order to perceive some wavelength from outside, it has to generate the same wavelength within. And so a desire that has this intention that is similar to the spiritual light around it can now receive this light within, and therefore it's called that it shines. That's why Sphira, from the word sapir, which means luminous, shines. The 10 Sphirot, they all shine.
One of the keys and secrets to the creative process is that everything creatively emerges in the mind, in consciousness, in imagination. And the dilemma and the challenge and the excitement of being an artist is, how do you take concept, which is creation in the mind, emerging out of imagination, and bring it down into making it real. That's what we do as artists. The intentionality, it's not just I want to be great and fantastic. To what purpose? Why? And the why is the function, and form follows function. So if we get very clear about what we want to accomplish, we want to express ourselves, we want to connect with other people, we want to end the separation, we want to explore oneness, and we want to heal. And this is what creators are. They are healers of the future. And by the way, creativity is love's work. And it is also the way that you write your own story. Through creativity, you can literally decide one day, gee, I don't like the third act. Let me create a whole different third act. If you create an authentic, emotional, intimate experience in the moment, there's a literal energy field between two people. It's an energy field of love. The larger purpose is, how do I bring out the goodness, truth, and beauty in people? There was something deep inside of me that was saying you needed to challenge yourself to be the artist, which means infusing your ability with the heart. What can I say? So, thank you.
When we come back, okay?
Yeah, thank you. When you put your energy out and you look at me, there's a whole different quality that comes out of your eyes. So please keep breathing and finding your voice. You can bring your voice into the world. When you come from your heart and you come from that place of wanting to bring beauty into the world, it's the counterpoint to violence.
Saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for the place called Lee Ho Fooks, gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo. Howling around your kitchen door. You better not let him in. Little old lady got mutilated late last night. Werewolves of London again. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Hairy-handed gent who ran amok in Kent. Lately he's been overheard in Mayfair. You better stay away from him. He'll rip your lungs out, Jim. I'd like to meet his tailor. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo. Well, I saw Lon Chaney walking with the Queen, doing the werewolves of London. I saw Lon Chaney Jr. walking with the Queen, doing the werewolves of London. I saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect. Werewolves of London. Draw blood. Werewolves of London.
Jazz billowed out of the storm drains on West 44th Street, and the subway exhaled her cigarette. Read it again, this time in Kerouac's voice. Read it again in the dead of winter with an unknown rider thumbing at a Bic lighter. Jazz, somebody said, should never be written down. It's a conversational music. It's boxing. It ain't sparring. It's fight night. It's the first time you get slammed in the nose. Your eyes well up. Your brain swells. You think, I'm on the wrong side of the damn ropes. And in a moment, the script goes out the window. So practice those combos. Swipe your MetroCard right and fight to stay in character. Jazz billowed out of the storm drains on West 4th Street, and the subway exhaled her cigarette. Read it again, this time like William Burroughs, like a starved mutt pining for Kansas. Read it again with Benzedrine and absinthe, like a crooked cop jiving in the back alley with an addict. The blues, somebody said, can't be written down. It isn't a note, it's a between note. It's a bend, it's your only damn friend when love doesn't want you again. So tune that guitar a little bit lower and drink enough to stay in character. Jazz billowed out of the storm drains on Bowery, and the subway exhaled her cigarette. Read it again, this time in Patti Smith's voice, in the lobby of the Chelsea at CBGB's, with mainline honesty, straight to the plagiator, like a lazy fact checker working off the dead of last century. Somebody said, write it down and it all becomes poetry. Read it aloud and set it free. It's bread when I'm hungry, liquor when I'm dry, greenbacks when I'm hard up, and religion when I die. It's jazz for the mind, it's blues for the soul. Bill on through the storm drains with no self-control.